Welcome everyone. It's season 3. Oh my god. Season 3, episode 1. We're finally back and we hope everyone has had a magnificent start to the new year. I know I'm really saying happy new year wishes at the end of March. What is going on?
It's been that long.
Right? But as always, proceedings, it's me, Karan. Toby.
Me, Toby Colossus.
And myself, Terry Shodan.
Woo! And the three of us are back. And yeah, guys, how you doing?
You know what? I'm actually great today. I've been in a super good mood. I think it's the weather, you know? Like, obviously, you guys know, and some of the listeners know, I'm from Manchester. Well, I live in Manchester, and it is always raining. And I swear to God, for the last, 2 months, it has just been non-stop torrential rain, storms, wind. But for the last, week or something, or maybe about 4 or 5 days, it's just been utter sunshine. So I'm in good spirits. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yesterday was a good day, wasn't it? The weather was out. We did a little family bike ride for the first time ever, which was cute.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it was good. I had a really good day, actually. Really good day. Really pleased. And it's not a bad day today as well. It's not quite as warm, but it's still pretty good.
yeah, it's still nice to look at, isn't it?
Yeah. Everything's all right when the sun's out.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
So obviously we haven't done an episode since the Christmas party back in December. So what have you guys been up to since then?
Oh God, so my year has been pretty crazy, to be fair. So yeah, January. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, she won't mind me saying this, but yeah, obviously my good friend Beth. Some listeners might know her more commonly as D and Beth. I used to do a lot of collaborations with her back in the day. I've known her since I was about 18 or something. So a long time now. But yeah, she had a baby just before Christmas time. Yeah, and yeah, she won't mind me saying this, but she unfortunately had a bit of a bad kind of pregnancy, so she had to get a cesarean, and she's a single mom. So I just kind of decided to take up on myself to go over there. I actually stayed with her for the most of January while she kind of healed up, and it was basically her kind of butler chef kind of thing. Went to the shops for her, just looked out for them both kind of thing. So until she could get back on her feet and felt confident in being able to take care of, herself and the baby without any kind of stress and whatnot. So yeah, obviously I work as a freelancer. So fortunately for me and for her, really, I was able to go over there and do a lot of my work just on my laptop remotely. And yeah, to be honest, it kind of worked as a bit of a kind of a good time to kind of regenerate my energy. She lives in the Lake District. So I was surrounded by all this beautiful country. She's got these amazing views from her window of the mountains and stuff. So it was a good time. Yeah. Got the creativity back up. Been working on lots of new music as well, which has been fantastic. And then into February, I got COVID.
Woo!
For the second time. Annoyingly, I was meant to go to the Metalheads event in London. It was a ridiculous lineup. I had Goldie, Grey Code. I think Dubai might have been playing. There was loads of names on it, but yeah, unfortunately, I tested positive, and yeah, it was actually around the time where the kind of government decided to drop all of that stuff. They're kind of even if you have COVID, you're apparently allowed to go out, but I didn't feel morally right doing that. I didn't feel morally right doing that, so I kind of just decided to miss out on that. But I think my bank account benefited from that, realistically. But yeah, to be honest, it's been a good time to kind of get back on top of the music, creativity, getting inspired again and whatnot. I suppose we can probably save if we want to talk about music projects a little bit later on, so we're not waffling on too much at the start, but I've got lots I can talk about later on about music projects that are going on.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been a good start of the year, and to be honest, I don't know about you guys, but I think a little bit of a breakaway from doing these podcast episodes was kind of needed. I think we did kind of burn ourselves out somewhat, and I'm very confident now that we can come back with a bit of a bang, and yeah, and keep the content flowing.
Just going to bring up something quickly from our chat, because for anyone watching on YouTube, we are currently streaming live on Twitch, and I've got Curly Roll over here who literally just says, "Yay, more Colossus tunes!" So there we go. The hype's already there.
Yeah, keep your eyes out this year for sure.
Yeah. Anything else you've been up to, Tobes?
Oh God. Honestly, I've been mainly collabing quite a lot with my housemate Imprint. We've got a new alias coming out soon, hopefully. We're in the process of sending a lot of music out. Yeah, he said I could mention it, Kind Fiction, so keep your eye out for that. We're on Instagram now. Yeah, we're going to try and be shouting about those tunes because we really believe in what we're doing, really. But it's definitely some of our better stuff in more recent times. And other than that, we've actually, sorry, Joe, other than that, we've just got together such a good mixing setup now. So we're basically just having a great time getting back on the mixing side of things, and getting our fingers in those crates and that,
Awesome. Where's that name from, Tobes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's a good story behind this. So we kind of came up with this name because it kind of represents our history within our not so much our musical journey, but I suppose our musical journey, but more our kind of journey in our careers, especially in Leeds. So we've both worked together in quite a lot of places, mainly kind of managerial positions or kind of supervisor positions in like many bars and clubs in Leeds. And we've kind of found ourselves in a position where we were always being kind of promised these kind of like promotions, or like, oh, things are going to get better if you stick with us kind of thing. And it never kind of happened. Nothing really came of it. So we kind of thought the whole thing of like, well, this new music alias is going to be our Kind Fiction, It's like, it's kind of like a weird little play on words. So it means
like
a little
that.
bit of something to us. And also it's quite a niche name. If you type in Kind Fiction in Google currently, nothing comes up. So if we can get some releases, get our SEO on lock, then if you type in Kind Fiction, hopefully our music should be the first thing that comes up.
Can't say the same for Colossus.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's always the problem I've kind of ran into, in a sense. It's really hard to kind of, narrow yourself down into a kind of, into that funnel. But yeah, that's essentially the origin of that name, really, and where it came from.
Wicked. Nice.
Nice. And Terry, what about you? What have you been up to since Christmas?
Working mainly, to be honest. I got a promotion just before Christmas at work.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. And then things got really weird, and I ended up standing in for my boss and ended up on like the senior management team at work, which is weird. Yeah, like totally out of my depth, sitting in on meetings. I had no idea what was going on. Managed to blag my way through that for about 2 months until my new boss started a few weeks ago, and since then, to be honest, it has chilled out a bit. It got a bit much, to be honest, because I was doing like 2 people's jobs.
Of course.
So yeah, whilst it was interesting to see how that side of things works in like a senior management position, I was quite pleased to step back down, if I'm honest. And just do my own job. So, but yeah, I've got a team of developers now that I look after, and we're building up and we're recruiting. So I've been doing loads of interviewing, which is interesting. I really enjoy that, like talking to people in that kind of setting.
Yeah.
So that's kept me busy, and then music-wise, I've just been rolling on as per usual. I had a quiet period just after Christmas, which I often do, January blues and all that.
Yeah, of course.
But, But yeah, February started to pick up again, and yeah, I'm fairly consistently doing bits at the moment. There's lots of collabing going on, as you both know.
Oh yes. I wonder who with.
Yeah, plenty of that happening. But that's been it really. Just work and carrying on the music vibe as usual. I had a release last month. The EP on Detached, the last one, was that last year or was that this year?
That was last year, around the end of November. So it was pretty close to the end of the year,
yeah. That's it really. It's been fairly quiet, to be honest.
Yeah. The first Shodan EP, right? The first one.
The first Shodan EP.
There's a little tease for you. Ooh. But yeah, on my end, it's, well, literally a few days after the Christmas episodes, I got COVID as well. Woo!
Hey, go COVID crew.
Yep. But luckily I had I think it's the Omicron one. That's the very mild one, right?
That's the one I got, I think, because mine
Yeah.
was so mild.
Yeah, all I had was a sore throat and all that, and I could still carry on with all my day job stuff because I was working throughout the period as well. Work's been hella busy. We had to do a whole migration because the company I work for got bought by a bigger company, and since I'm part of the IT, we had to do a lot of the IT migration stuff of it, which is always crazy. But it's starting to calm down now, which is a good thing. Still keeping on with my streaming and all that. I'm now doing Wednesday DJ sets as well, it's been really fun as well. It's been really fun showcasing new music by you guys as well. And yeah, it's been really fun. I did some mixes for Basics, and at the time of this recording, this coming Friday, I'm doing a set for our good friend Good Shepherd's Good Friday sessions. So that'll be a live set from 10 to 12 p.m. So that'll be pretty fun. Musically as well, I took a bit of a break from the music, the podcast, detached audio as well, because I just think it's just so important to have these breaks, right? And then you come back with a fresh mindset, fresh ideas and all that sort of thing. So like now that I've come back, especially with detached audio, like new materials coming through, and I'm very excited for what the future holds for this year. The podcast as well, I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be up to this year as well in regards to this episode, which everyone's viewing right now, and obviously the feedback sessions and even the new production sessions. Yeah.
In terms of detach, can you elaborate on any of the plans you have? 'Cause obviously, I think me and Terry both know, but maybe the listeners
Oh yes,
might.
of course.
Obviously, if you're keeping it under wraps, by all means.
Oh no,
Hijacked.
Yeah, right. Now I have to reveal this. Okay.
No, honestly, don't feel like you have.
No.
Don't feel like you have to.
But yeah, I've decided to move like detached to a Discord platform as well, because I think nowadays with social media as well, because of how poor reach can be at times, it's better off when you're in places where everyone can see it. It's not like certain social medias where you only reach 10% of your audience, 1% of your audience, whatever, whereas here I can just be like, look guys, our new release by Shodan's out, blah blah blah. And I'm trying to do an area just for everyone, and then a separate area for the artists involved. So like if the artists want to get collaborating together, remixing each other. Speaking of, there's like a remix series that we're planning out that will just be throughout Detached lifetime. Number 1 of the series is in production right now, but it'll be basically people within the label remixing each other's original tracks, so that it's almost like a family unit basically. Yeah, so
I dig the idea, man. It's a really cool idea.
And I just feel like that sort of thing, when you have a community of artists that sort of work together as well, they end up trying to make better content for each other and themselves as well. Because you're just like, these are the guys I'm trying to push on and motivate, and they're trying to motivate me as well. So, yeah.
This kind of links in with the conversations that you and I have had about my career and what I've been doing and where I'm going, etc. And I've kind of, just for everyone else's benefit, I've kind of got to a point where I've stopped chasing big labels. I've done that for a while. It hasn't really worked for whatever reason. Speculate all day. But I think what I want to do now is I want to find a little community. That's little, that sounds condescending. A community that I can be involved with, that want me there, as it were, and that's what we were talked about. And I know that yourself and the rest of the guys involved in Detach, you want me there. I feel loved, I feel wanted, and I think that's probably more important than having these these blockbuster releases on these big labels where you're just another number, and you're just, you know what I mean? It's so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. I'm hoping we can build more of a community and more of a vibe, and really build something nice.
Yeah,
something nice.
I mean, there's your teaser audience. There's gonna be a lot of Shodan this year on Detached. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of it, and well, that's the thing.
Sorry about that.
No, well, that's the thing, right? So when I've been doing these Wednesday sessions on Twitch, I try and sessions. When I've been trying to do these Wednesday sessions on Twitch, I try and put in these bits that are forthcoming because I want to see how the audience react to it. And quite a lot of times, because obviously Shodan tunes are filthy, you know, people always call for the rewind, and I'm like, okay, so clearly I've hit something good here. Play the Shodan track again. So yeah, that's the thing as well. Doing these little sessions as well, you can really sort of build more community around different aspects of what you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, very much.
Plus, I'm pretty confident that we can put out more experimental stuff as well within this kind of community. And with, I think what I like about Detached, there isn't really a blueprint, is there? If it's just, you're just putting out good music, whatever it is, whoever makes it.
Music I like by people I like.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So.
And that is something that's drastically wrong with a lot of music scenes these days. It's less about the kind of integrity of the artist and what they want to be doing and their vision, and it's more about kind of having to kind of tailor in a certain way to fit in. And realistically, is that really what being an artist should be about? But I think later on in this discussion, we can elaborate further on that, because that's going to be quite a large topic of what we're talking about, I believe.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that's the thing as well. With these episodes, we now have special topics in mind, and I think it is a good time to get into our main topic of today. And I didn't get to show you this video, Terry, but I showed it to Toby, and it was posted on our Think Breaks Discord server as well. And it's the idea about how all art has changed into what people call content, right? So, you know, you're a music producer. Here is some content. Your EP is content. You're a painter. Your $1.5 million piece of art in the Tate is content. You are a YouTuber. Your vlog about how your baby is the cutest thing ever is content. And I'd like to hear your thoughts about that. What is, like, the term content? What does it mean to you, firstly?
One of the things that's jumped in my head straight away is, I think there's a distinction between a professional content creator and like a hobbyist artist. So the distinction I'm making there is there's somebody who creates content for a living. And for them, it's going to be about quantity, it's consistency, it's going to be formula, it's going to be blueprint, you're going to churn over and over again. I think with like an artist who does it for the love of it, not for the money, you're coming from a different place, aren't you? And you're making art for primarily, or hopefully for yourself, and then if you find an audience, that's a secondary concern. But I guess that's where the differentiation is, isn't it? Are you doing it for money, or are you doing it for love?
Oh.
I suppose in a world it would be nice to be able to do it for love and then get those kind of benefits out of it. But unfortunately, a lot of the cases that isn't how it can work, really, because you have to kind of oblige to these new rules and these new structures that are set in place. Like you say, this whole content framework, like TikTok and stuff. Like a lot of musicians these days, like, the only way their music can really blow up is through TikTok. Like I noticed an artist that I always looked up to, still look up to today, to be honest, love the music, is drum bass producer Taxman.
Oh yeah.
You know, he like his tunes back in the day, you know, were pretty much the stepping stone that got me into loving Jump Up, realistically. And you take a look at him on Spotify, and I actually have more Spotify listeners than him, which blows my mind, because it's like, how am I in a position where that is deserved when I used to look up to this guy? But then you have a look at people that make very similar music, and they're making TikToks. I'm not going to name drop people, but they're making all these TikToks and stuff, and obviously they blow up because of it. So it just goes to show that, like, it's like the kind of marketing industry has forced everyone into having to go down this content creation route. And at what point does that just become so detrimental to artists, you know, and the overall scene?
And Taxman doesn't do anything on social either, does he?
And he shouldn't have to.
No, he shouldn't have to. You're
the
right.
Music
but
should always have to speak for itself first, you know.
But sadly, I think like 50. I'm sure. Yeah, Ben Rollo's just said it in the chat. 50% of being an artist now is your social media, and I'm fairly certain it's one of the reasons why I've not been massively successful over the last few years, because I just
Likewise.
can't engage with it. I can't be asked.
And it is a shame. Like, obviously, yeah, it is a shame. Like, obviously, it's great for those it works for, but it feels like everyone's just going to be limited just because they don't want to play that social media game. So it's like, at what point do you just think, what's the point then? You know? But you keep on doing it because, like you say, we have the love for it. So even if there's 10 people listening that it's connecting to at home, that's good enough for me, realistically.
I think it comes from the lack of hard. I was going to use the word hardware. That's not right. Hard copies of art now, and how everything being digital, and it, you know, a hard copy of a piece of art had a value.
Yes.
Yeah, it had it was £5 for a single or whatever, but it had a value, and it was shared between people. You know, I know people share digital content, but I don't know. It's just not the same as physically holding the thing and giving it to your mate and going, hey, listen to this. And I don't know, you had that kind of, I don't know, it's difficult to put it into words, isn't it? But I think the whole thing, and we've had this conversation, the whole thing's been devalued by digital content and just the sheer volume of it. If you ever go through Beatport and go through all like latest drum and bass tracks, it's unbelievable. The variety of quality is unbelievable. So much of it. How do you? And the only way now you can stand out and cut through is, unfortunately, having this social media presence, which is a shame. But yeah, it is what it is, I think.
Yeah.
Ben Rolo just got time gapped.
I'm going to bring up some... So obviously, again, as I mentioned, we are currently live on Twitch. And I'm going to bring up a couple of comments that our chat is making and questions as well. So we've got a question here from Kipsy, who is obviously the man behind our jingle. And you can see it on the screen now. Are music tracks still content? Is content creation more for social media? That's the question.
I don't think all music is content, but a lot of content is music.
Ah, like one of all, but not all for... Yeah, okay. Interesting point.
I think a lot of people end up falling into this kind of thing where the music they are making is specifically made for content. It's not really so much seen in our scene. So I'm kind of not really talking about the drum and bass scene as such, but kind of like artists like Little Nas X and stuff, you know, all these people blew up on TikTok, and they probably made those tunes knowing they are going to pop off on TikTok. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, isn't it about riding a horse, one of his tunes or something?
Wait, I actually have no idea.
I might be confusing two things right now, but like that as an example, it's like there's definitely a demographic of people out there that specifically write music for the content, you know. So I think in some sense it is content, but no, not all music is just content.
I think there are people in drum and bass who do create content rather than music as well, and by content maybe it's less for social media, but it's for DJ sets. So there's guys out there now who play like sets of their, only of their music now, don't they? And that's and actually in some ways that's not a bad thing to do, because that sets you apart from the other DJs, because you've just got exclusive, your own set, no one else has got it, kind of thing. But I do worry that a lot of these guys, and I have to say Jump Up is rife with it, and these, they're throwing out these 3-minute tunes. I mean, that's another indicator of it being content. It's like when your tunes are 2.5, 3 minutes long, you've not put a lot of love into that, have you?
Exactly.
Another thing we've got to take into account as well, realistically, is naturally as we all get older and older, the genres that are popular with the young kids, it's like they're catering towards these young audiences, and like realistically social media and all this kind of content creation stuff, it's like a young person's game. So it's going to be just a natural evolution of that, growing into that, where it's just completely, that's the focus around it all, because that's the main demographic.
Well, a lot of them are only listening to music on social media. A lot of them aren't listening to, a lot of these kids aren't even listening to Spotify, they're only listening to music on YouTube.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, YouTube in some ways is still one of the, probably more so than Spotify, the biggest place to listen to music, because it's just so easier to find and so on. I mean, sure, there is the thing where you have to actually search for said music, but you watch these videos of people doing other sorts of stuff like vlogs and whatever, there's still the music in the background that you listen to and you're like, oh, what's that tune? And then you go check it out. And then you look on the comments for those YouTube videos for like the song, and it'll be like, oh, this famous YouTuber brought me here. Who else was brought here? Like if you agreed, like that sort of stuff, you know? So yeah, no, it's true. It's a lot to do with social media. And we've got another question here. This one from Curly Roller. And I'm just going to put it up on the screen. Does the coldness / lack of connection with a physical medium require social media presence to compensate for the lack of connection that physical media used to give us? Like, for example, holding a vinyl, holding a CD.
Holding a what?
Vinyl.
Did you say a vinyl?
Did I say vinyl? I mean, did I say a?
You did. You're one of them.
I was going to say a piece of, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Vinyl. A record.
Vinyl.
All right.
I really hate a vinyl.
Right.
Sorry, I'm triggered.
Well, this is my last episode, guys. I will be leaving the show.
Right now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Jax picked up on it as well. It's over. It's over, Karen.
But
Yeah,
yes, sorry.
I would agree. I think so, really. I think, like realistically, music being in that digital form, the content is there to connect the audience to the music through that way, you know? Whereas you can't do it the same way. You can't expect someone to kind of have that connection with it just being like a file.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
So
go on.
Do you think people connect visually almost as much as audibly with
Now
this
they
stuff
do.
now?
100%, 100%.
And it's from the dawn of YouTube and the dawn of all these TikTok platforms. Like us as a society, we do just naturally have a much shorter attention span to the point where younger people, they don't even watch much YouTube anymore because all they can hack is like an 8-second video onto the next thing, you know?
Maybe it goes back as far as MTV, you know. That's probably where it started, that kind of visual audio kind of mix, as it were. Because I would sit and watch MTV for hours, and I'd have it on the background as a source of music. This is back when I used to listen exclusively to hip hop and nothing else.
Woo!
And I guess that's where it started, and then that kind of went away because apparently MTV has no music now. It's just a constant stream of garbage.
X on the beach, all that kind of stuff.
Gibberish, yeah. But I guess that's like the paradigm, isn't it? And then it moved on to YouTube, where it's that same kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, going back to that video, he does make some very interesting points. One of the things he says is it all kind of started really this whole direction with Andy Warhol, basically seeing that. It goes even further back. It goes back when like you had like after the Renaissance, when creativity was at its like, you know, the top of its game really, and everyone was like
the absolute boom
and whatnot. And basically patrons would give money to artists based on the artist rather than the actual art, you know. And what Andy Warhol did is he saw that, he recognized that, and recognized that that is basically just like marketing at its truest form, you know. And then that's why we've got this whole kind of clouty thing of it's based off of that person and the numbers rather than the actual art itself. And I think where the music industry has got today with like just on the internet, I'm talking about like the internet based music industry, it's basically that, you know, it's just primarily based off of, you know, you get what I mean.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I desperately wish that oh god, my mind's gone blank. The Bandcamp would get their shit together and improve the UI and their website and basically expand, because I think if they could, you would get back to that kind of that almost record shop vibe to a lesser extent, and away from kind of the Spotify model where it's just, you know, next, and the same with the YouTube where you listen to 10 seconds and you're hitting next, 10 seconds and you're hitting next. I think Bandcamp's got more of that kind of record shop vibe about it. It's just the UI is not great.
Well,
they need to do something about that. They've been bought out now though, haven't they?
I was just about to say, I wasn't expecting to bring this up during the show, but Epic Games have bought Bandcamp, haven't they?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. Epic Games bought Bandcamp, I want to say about a month ago now.
Yeah.
That's an interesting move. I wouldn't have expected that one.
Well,
No?
my thought was because of video game soundtracks. That was why I thought Epic Games would have bought them, and like the discoverability and so on. But hopefully they can, shift like with their resources, because Epic Games is huge. Hopefully they can shift their resources and make Bandcamp better. But whether that comes into I don't know, higher costs for us, subscription costs or something like that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Unfortunately, in this day and age, there's always a price to be paid.
Is Epic the people who make Fortnite?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Fortnite, Rocket League, and here he is with the moves.
Didn't they get kicked out of the Apple App Store?
Not that
I'm not
I
sure.
know of.
They did. I'm sure they had some problem with Apple, which doesn't bode very well. Could be wrong.
I'm not too sure.
I think they did. I think they had some sort of issue with them. I don't know if it's sorted now, but yeah, I'm sure if they had an issue with Apple that resulted in them. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Chat, does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, if chat knows, I'll bring up the message on stream right now.
It's gone under my radar, that one. I've not actually come
Yeah,
across that.
same. But
I'm very much interested in the concept of Epic Games buying over Bandcamp. And the
What it could
rationale
mean.
and reasoning why, and what it could mean for Bandcamp's future, for Epic Games' future as well.
Yeah, there is an article about it, but I literally can't remember it from the top of my head. It was such a while back, and to me, it was just like confusing news of the day. But yeah, no. Wait, go on.
I can't see them pivoting it, so I don't think they'll kill it. And
No.
they haven't acquired it to absorb it or remove competition. So they must see something in it.
Yeah.
And they must be willing to plow some money into it. Maybe they just hate Spotify as much as the rest of the world does.
I've just had a random brainwave, right? But Bandcamp now has this thing where you can host live events on Thingimabob, right? On Bandcamp itself, and you can ticket them and so on.
Nice.
I wonder if, because Epic Games obviously has Fortnite, Rocket League, and so on, they're gonna tie in the music of that, because it is licensed music in those games, and put it together with Bandcamp to sell ticketed concerts that are in
could be
Fortnite.
I mean, Rocket League has the worst. I cannot. If I ever play it, I cannot have the sound on. It's so bad, so bad. I mean, I know I am not the core demographic, so I'm probably not going to enjoy the tripe that 14-year-olds listen to. But it is garbage. Sorry.
Shots fired.
Yeah, right.
Have you listened to it? It's dreadful. It's like the worst pop shit.
Me and Toby used to play Rocket League until he rage quit and left us.
I never got into it. I hate Rocket League, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I like driving games. I like FIFA. I don't like the two merged together. Get to fuck with that shit.
Yeah, I feel like that. But mainly because I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, that was my main gripe. I just couldn't get on with like the movement. I don't know. Yeah. I'm making excuses for my garbageness, essentially.
Make excuses for your poor skills.
Yeah.
Same.
But yeah, on the content thing, there was a little tweet I saw earlier today, which, Toby, thank you for sharing. It was an NSB tweet, wasn't it?
It was mad timing, because we'd already planned to talk about the video of the whole, like, what the problem with the internet, music, and content is. And then, funnily enough, I saw LSB's tweet on my walk this morning, and yeah, it was such perfect timing.
Yeah, so I mean, just for context, there was someone who was tweeting about how we as musicians, labels, etc., should be aiming to put out regular content, like music every however many weeks, and content around it and all that.
It was basically, I think the tweet was like, this is why you must do at least 5 pieces of content per week.
Must be in the keyword.
Yeah.
And then this tweet comes off from LSB, which says, "This is everything I hate about modern underground music. Music is a vehicle for sales and marketing. There's no room for innovation. It's all about just content, memes, marketing. It only takes one tune to change someone's life, be it a listener or an artist." So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, obviously, you'll know that I fully agree with that, because it's basically what I've been kind of waffling on about. And I don't really want listeners to kind of listen and think I'm trying to disregard all marketing, because I do understand the importance of marketing, but I think there is a happy medium where rather than it just being like shoving content down everyone's throat or left, right, and center, you know, you can get that balance right where you can keep the integrity of the music of what you want to do. And like, it's that's what it's all about. People aren't thinking, oh, this might connect. It's essentially like being grateful with what you're getting, right? Just like people need to learn that there's probably a good handful of people that are really connecting to your music, but people just want more. So if everyone can just be grateful with what their art is doing and how it's connecting, rather than just wanting those numbers to go up and up and like, I get it. It's like, you want to be successful. You want to keep like having these milestones to aim for, but just be careful you don't lose yourself to those numbers.
Yeah.
Down the line.
I tell you who's an interesting artist with an interesting model is Eamon Tobin, the Brazilian
legend.
English. Yeah. He lives in LA now. He releases a lot of his music, not all of it, but a lot of it, almost solely through this club that he runs. Is it the Newmark Club or something? I can't remember the name of it.
Yes, I think
but
something
it's
like that.
basically it's a subscription model, and you pay a subscription, you get loads of exclusive music through it, and you get loads of exclusive, in quotes, content. Now, what's interesting about him is he's really shy. So, like, he very, very, like, up until a few years ago, there were, like, no photos of him floating around or anything. He really doesn't like being in the spotlight. And a lot of his, you can even see when, like, the videos where he's doing the studio tours, the lighting's very dark, and, like, his studio seems amazing. It's incredible. But he's very softly spoken and quiet. And, yeah, he's doing really, really well. And he also gives the vibe of somebody who's like pours love into his music, but he also creates a lot of music as well. He's very what's the word prolific. Yeah. So he's kind of, for me, he's almost nailed the best of both worlds. He's making this content. There's not huge amounts of it, but what it is really good. He's also making music, which is, you can, like, he did like a folk album couple of albums back, which was really like completely totally, it was still Eamon Tobin does folk, but it was not his usual kind of thing. And then he's got his Two Fingers project, which is just straight up kind of dance floor.
Two Fingers is wicked.
Two Fingers is wicked, yeah. And he does stuff with Ivy Lab, doesn't he? And he does a lot of stuff with Thies now from Noisia. But he's a really interesting artist, and his model and the way he's going about things is really interesting. And he's got just, it's integrity, isn't it? I think is what's at the centre of it all.
He's got like 6 different aliases, isn't it?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Joe and
Figuerosa or whatever it is.
Figuerosa, that was the
that's the folk one.
That's the folk one.
And then obviously Two Fingers, Eamon Tobin.
And there is another one as well, isn't there? I'm trying to think what the other one is.
No, it's not coming to me.
No.
But yeah, like that's also a really good point in that, because he's got all these different styles and it's just writing honest music under all these names, people realise that it is honest music. I know it's a weird term to call music honest, like as if there's a such thing as dishonest music, but I think the audience do understand what I mean by that. Yeah,
that's it. It's weird, isn't it? Because we're really like, this chat might seem like we're trying to shit on everyone who follows that whole content train, but it really isn't the fact that at all. Like, if that is what you like doing and you're successful at it, more power to you, you know. Yeah, we're just giving our 2 cents on it. And also, with one thing I will say about Eamon Tobin is he obviously was very popular before this whole content.
Yeah, true.
So he has that benefit behind him as well. Whereas if someone came along and tried to do that these days without that content backing them, don't think they would get anywhere.
No.
Plus, yeah, he adapted, didn't he, to a changing world, and he's interested because his music isn't exactly accessible either.
No, not at all.
Is it? Like, he's never going to get a pop record.
I mean, the Two Fingers stuff is the most accessible stuff, but even that isn't 100% accessible.
Some of it's quite challenging.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it is a thing, especially with the whole content thing. In this day and age as well, it almost feels like making memes is the best way to get your music heard. Like, which for some people, it's, you know, it's just not what they want to do. I mean, I've noticed it sometimes when I look at my Spotify listeners. If I post a silly little meme about a tune of mine that's out, next day I see the numbers went up on that tune. And I'm like, oh, really? Do I have to? Sort of thing. But I don't know if I'm the only one. I hope you guys are. But I've been very blessed in that I've not released music in 3 months, but still see my numbers going up and up and up. So hopefully that's a sign that maybe times are changing, or that somehow I've managed to avoid this whole you have to use memes and all that. I don't know.
Honestly, in terms of numbers, I just don't look at them anymore.
Yeah.
Like I just find that my mental health and my overall mood is just so affected by it. Which is ridiculous because, like, why should I care?
Yeah.
But I find myself like having like a bit of a different mood swing or something if I notice like, oh, I'm not doing as well as I should. And it's like, who's to say that I'm not doing as well as I should? I mean, who's to say that there's not like a load of people like really, like that's another point of the video that we were watching. He says at the end, what we want to aim for is to have like 100 to 1,000, anywhere between them, of core solid super fans, they're kind of called, who will just support you no matter what. Yeah. And like, as long as you kind of have some of those people that always support your music, you should just be grateful for that, really.
See, I noticed that as well with a lot of my social stuff. For a while, I bemoaned the fact that it was almost the same 10, 20, 50 people commenting and liking all the time. But actually, I flipped down its head now. It's like, hang on, these guys are actually, they're fans. They're actual fans.
Yeah, they're into what you make.
Exactly. And yeah, I'm much more appreciative of them now. And I guess, yeah, you stop worrying about the size of the numbers and start, focusing on the quality of the fan base and the interactions that you're having with your fans.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think another thing. Oh God, I was going to make a good point about this. Oh no.
Oh,
what was I going to say?
Karan XEX has broken down.
EXE, what are you doing?
Sorry, what?
Oh, I was actually going to make a really good point about the whole having these core fans. Oh yeah, that's it. It's the fact that, like, yeah, you say you've got these core fans and so on. These are the guys who would be talking about your music, They go to their friends, yo, have you heard of this guy called Shodan? His stuff is sick. Whereas these people that just like and so on, you probably won't see them go, oh yeah, have you heard this new track by Shodan called Inside the Walls and so on. They'll just be like, yeah, I like his stuff, cool. But they're not the ones that are sort of championing your work, so to speak.
Yeah. There's a lot of kind of hardcore listeners that are just like the subtle fans, like you say, who won't be constantly like all over social media. So who's to say that you don't have like a huge handful of fans that aren't going to interact on social media because that isn't their thing, but who think that your music has like changed their life, because that has to be that has to be the case. So you just got to always remember those kind of things and try and like separate that between the looking at the numbers and just being like, oh no, the numbers.
I just remembered my other point as well. Like, I know I said the whole fans will talk about you, but that wasn't actually the point I was going to make. The other point I was going to make
is... Nice ad lib then.
Yeah, thank you. The other point I was going to make was that when you do realize that, these 100 fans or whatever, they're like your core fans and these are the people you care about, that's when I feel like the true artist within comes in, because you'll write exactly what's from the heart as opposed from something that you're doing to catch a trend or something like that. And I think these 100 people will notice, like, for example, if Toby, you release something and it's like complete straight from the heart, something that means a lot to you, these are the 100 I'll be like, oh right, I can actually hear Toby in this track and not Toby trying to catch a trend to be popular. And these tracks resonate more. Yeah,
I can relate to your point to quite a large extent, actually, with the kind of self-released album I did, Third Phase, during 2020. It was 2020, right? 2020, yeah. Jesus Christ, it feels that long ago now. But yeah, anyway, like on a numbers statistical point of view, it quite honestly flopped, right? But that isn't to say that the amount of messages I've had from many people saying like, oh, like really love that, like can see what you're trying to do with that kind of thing, it obviously kind of connected with some people, so you got to be grateful for that.
I love that.
Sometimes that means more because I just made what I wanted to. It came straight from my heart, and I didn't have to kind of like lose that integrity and kind of try and fit into a niche and like try and make loads of content around it and make sure it reaches this large audience. Like who it did reach really liked it for what it was. So that's I think that's kind of like what all artists want, really.
I love that album. It was my favorite of the year, to be fair, easily.
Well, big up,
really lovely album. I'm just going to bring up a question from chat. We've got Curly Roller again, who says, so, from the artist here, do you enjoy having more direct contact with your fans that the internet and social media makes more possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. As long as they're over there.
Over there? What do you mean?
I don't want them near me. But yeah, no. Yeah, well, no, I think like I don't know, like
Not knocking on your door. Like,
no. But if I were out DJing or something, I don't know. I would freak out if people were coming up and going, "Oh, are you Shodan?" Okay. It used to happen when I had my 5 minutes. It did happen a few times, but I was normally very, very drunk, so I didn't care. But nowadays, I would probably be freaked out by it quite a lot. But yeah, no, I like to interact with people.
Yeah. It's nice to know that there is actually someone there who's properly enjoying your stuff, right? So,
I mean, I'm always super appreciative of any message I get about like whether they've enjoyed a track or a comment I see about how much a track's meant to them or something. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, it's great, and even negative stuff. You know, as long as you can take it on the chin, it's all very important to accept and deal with. Really.
yeah, I think there's a line though on the negative thing though, in the sense of like if someone's just saying, I don't know, I release a new track and someone's just like, this one's not for me, just feels a bit too loopy for my taste, I'll be like, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know, I appreciate that. Yeah. But if someone's then just goes into, and I've had this happen before, right? There was one tune that I did, my first ever tune anyway, but it like someone commented saying, oh yeah, the mixdown really sucks, this is really weak, and then they went into my inbox just to say fuck off, and I'm like, what did I do to you? Why did I hurt you so much?
Wow.
That's just straight up toxicity though. And
Yeah.
like, all you need to do there is just block that stuff out entirely, because that is like the level of like stupidity that you can't even like that you can't even just deal with.
Exactly.
You just gotta just push that to the side.
At the time I was
thinking about.
At the time, I was annoyed because it was the first time I've had a negative comment as such. But you know, when you're only making like a bit of music, right, you're not going to get that many negative comments because you're not that discoverable. But I went on the guy's profile, and that was the only comment he left anywhere. So I was just like, wow. I hurt this guy so much that he had to comment about how bad my tune was, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna move on and carry on.
Well, you got to think, like, for people to leave those kind of things and like spend that much time, what must be going on so wrong in their own life?
You sure it wasn't a Jack Perry throwaway? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I think it was before I even knew him, to be fair. So who knows? Probably is. But yeah, no, it's just like, but yeah, those kinds of negative comments, you know, those can all just get in the bin. But there is something about having constructive criticism that I really do value. Like, for example, when I send you guys tunes and like Terry, for example, you'll tell me that no, I'm not gonna bring that one up, right? But for example, if you say something like, oh, this instrument just sounds really distorted in the mix, you need to clean that up, or if Toby goes, yeah, this one's just not as good, I'll be like, okay, fair, I can take that, and hopefully I will improve and do something better. And then you do. Yeah.
And you get rid of those fucking pianos.
Okay, let's deal with this right now.
What the sad boy pianos? We're going to take it head on.
Yeah, just come on, let's have a bit of an intervention. Where did this come from, and why, and how, and when?
So this is just me being subjectively being a dickhead, but I've got to a point now where I'm so tired of hearing what I call sad boy pianos in drum and bass. They are so done, so done. They've been done again, like the last 10 years. Everything that's come out of the amp and all, you know, there's been great music along with it, but a lot of it's been.
We dropping names, Terry.
We're actually name dropping. This show is live. You're cancelling us.
Good music as well, but there is a lot of this kind of derivative, splice pack driven, piano-y liquid, which I'm just so tired of. There's so much of it and it sounds so similar. And Karan sent a tune over and it was all well and good, and then like 30 seconds in, there it was, the sad boy piano. And I was just like, dude, I like other bits of this, but try it without those pianos. And
Do you not think that like all kind of subgenres of drum and bass have that to an extent though, where like there's certain aspects of the sounds that have just been done to death? Like you can hear that a lot in like rollery kind of drum and bass, you know, almost.
Well, you know, I was going to bring up because
And jungle.
I was going to bring up because this reminds me of something we said when you were a guest on the podcast like 2 years ago, Toby. And it matches.
Damn, we throwing back.
Yeah, and it matches with the name of the show. I mean, obviously, we are Think Break's podcast, and a lot of people don't like the vocal sound in the Think Break, you know, and so on. Yeah, the capacity, of course.
The dawn of the capacity.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? Certain sounds or motifs get used. So I do completely get the piano thing.
But they cycle out. I mean, we're talking about jungle and rollers. Jungle cycled out for a decade. And rollers will cycle out again, and then they might come back in 10 years. But rollers isn't a subgenre, as we all know. But these sounds, these motifs, you know, look at the classic kind of neurofunk, what I call neurofunk, the optical Ed Rush kind of era. That cycled out, and then it starts to come back. It's time for the sad boy pianos to cycle out.
You can't cycle out pianos, bro. They're the ultimate instrument, the ultimate harmonizer.
It's true. I think you can't.
Like where
it's not
classical music came from.
But it's not just pianos. It's that style of.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm playing devil's advocate a bit here.
I think that's the thing as well. You can't really cycle out instruments. You can cycle out styles 100%.
It's a style, but it is a style. It's that kind of lo-fi. I'm crying over my breakfast cereal kind of thing. Like everyone hates me, sad boy pianos. I don't know. And it's not just like, it's not the instrument, it's the tone. And I don't mean tone as in sonics. I mean tone as in
vibe. Emotion.
Yeah, it's like
I guess that it maybe comes down to like how you interpret it though, because for example, I remember you mentioning that you thought one of Karen's was like a sad boy piano type thing that he was showing us, but I didn't really get the sad vibe at all. I got like a really nice calming mellow kind of vibe. I didn't really get like the sadness, so maybe it's more just how like different people interpret it.
Yeah, as I said right at the start, this is a subjective thing. I don't listen to that kind of stuff. So I guess, yeah, I do. I mean, if I was going to listen to relaxing music, maybe I'd go for a bit of lo-fi hip hop, and sometimes you get the sad boy pianos in there, but you also get a bit of jazz as well, which is nice.
True, yeah.
I don't know. I just it's the fact that it's been done to death, and it's the fact that like they're 9 times out of 10 they're off packs from Splice as well.
Okay, fair. I've got to say though, with Splice, I don't think this problem lies in Splice. It's more the usage of it.
Yeah, just picking up a loop and dropping it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot that can be said for putting your own creative twist on a sample rather than dragging and dropping.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we did it on Friday, didn't we? Like that start of that tune we made, which we might carry on later. It was all dragged out of Splice, but yeah, we went straight into chopping and processing mode. Yeah.
I mean, it you know, Splice is the modern day man's hunting for samples in a record shop, really. It's a lot more accessible as well, which is why you get a lot more of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But here's one for you, actually. No, it's just coming off the top of my head. I'm trying to bring it back to the whole content thing. Do you think that because we've got these more accessible means of making music and so on, that it's more easier for these pieces of music to feel like content?
Yeah, I guess, because that comes down to quantity, doesn't it? Because there's so much more of it because it's so much easier to make. So the value of it comes down.
Types?
Yeah, pretty much what Terry says.
Yeah, no, that just came to the top of my head, so I was just like,
Curly in the chat's brought up another one that is rapidly becoming a pet hate of mine as well. The fake vinyl crackles.
Oh yes, to make it sound like it's like
it's authentic. It's authentic, guys. It's authentic.
You're not fooling anyone.
But yeah, no, that was a nice little bit about content, wasn't it, Tobes?
Yeah, man. So one more point I'll give just to go full circle on this entire chat we've had is right at the start when we were kind of talking about our catch-ups and whatnot. Terry mentioned about how he's like kind of done with the whole chasing of the big labels. I'm happier just to kind of be involved with like a community that kind of appreciate and respects. And that's actually one of the key things that the guy who did the video, we'll leave the link to the video we're talking about in the description down below on YouTube. But yeah, he says one of the ways to get past this phase of content is if it's something that you really don't want to follow down. It's all about finding that kind of key community and kind of building those close, tight knit where it's like not like just inviting loads and loads and loads of artists in and just like flushing through them and stuff, but just like a core group that you can really build and like grow together and that. And yeah, I think that's just like a big positive thing that can happen.
And that's
people go down that route.
And that's also something that we're aiming for with season 3 of Think Breaks, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
There is a negative side of it as well, actually. I do totally agree with you because I said it earlier, but the downside is that it does promote this whole tribalism thing where like you find your tribe and my tribe's better than your tribe, and that's
a risk. Yeah,
that is a risk of it, and I think you see that. You see it in the States quite a lot, don't you? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I think that's just an unfortunate part of just human nature, though.
Yeah,
yes. Realistically, we all come from like living in caves, like, I have club, I want your woman. You know, like,
Toby, sorry, did you just come from the cave, or
that was Weatherspoons on a Friday night, wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I think that whole tribalism kind of side of things is just kind of built into us in a way.
Yeah.
So you can,
Jack Perry.
No.
You know what it is, right? This is exactly why I've not had the chat open, not had the stream open, just because I've seen you two smirking away, and I would just be smirking away. I'm trying to keep myself locked in.
To be fair,
keep it professional.
To be fair, I'm keeping an eye on the chat just to make sure there's some good points that our audience, they're a smart lot, and it's been nice sort of seeing what their questions and things are.
Absolutely, yeah.
Throwing this out there as well, actually. I think I'm allowed to say this, Karan.
Of course.
I hope I am. I'm going to say it anyway.
All right.
I think we might be looking for, maybe if someone's up for it, a bit of a podcast producer.
Yes.
Could maybe take control of a lot of this moderation stuff while we waffle on, so we have less time kind of watching and making sure everything's running, and more time, trying to desperately get ridiculous conversation and points out.
Yeah, so basically we're looking for someone to take my job, if that's something you guys feel like doing. Bye. But honestly though, I hope everyone in chat has enjoyed the new look for season 3, doing it as a live show. And this is our whole thing with starting this episode with content, is that it's something that we've got 3 hosts here out of 5, but I'm sure all of us completely relate to the whole thing of wanting to make stuff, I don't even want to use the word content, stuff that's just meaningful and connects with people.
Because this is technically content.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So we can bitch about content and stuff, but we are playing into the game right now.
Yeah, and also in the sake of content, if you want to follow us on our socials, you can see that there for more content. No, I'm kidding.
Smooth.
But no, that's the thing as well. So we do hope with this new season, it'll be a lot more community, and we can resonate and connect with you guys a lot more, which has been what's happened. And for anyone who's watching through YouTube or
our lovely audio listeners, you can't forget our audio listeners. We love you to death.
Our audio listeners as well. If you do ever want to take part in these shows live, it's twitch.tv/thinkbreaks, twitch.tv/thinkbreaks.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube as well, be sure to give us a like, maybe leave us a cheeky comment, maybe a cheeky review in the comments, and we can start reading some out, maybe, if we get some coming in. Obviously on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, if you're listening on there, do please rate the podcast. We appreciate every rating. You can also rate us over on Podchaser as well. Leave us a review and a rating, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah. If you do want to leave a review, podchaser.com/thinkbreakspodcast. That's podchaser.com/thinkbreakspodcast. I said it all the time in season 2, so I'm going to say it now.
You have to do it
Any
again.
review helps, so please let us know. We are the best thing since sliced bread. Woo!
Oh, he said it again.
other things, patreon.com/thinkbreaks, patreon.com/thinkbreaks. We're going to change this up a little bit so that it's a bit more just tailored to how much you want to support us, if you do want to support us. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that one.
I'd like to say that you two look ever so dashing in your branded merchandise. And wouldn't it be amazing if all three of us could sit here in some branded merchandise?
Some branded merch.
This is true. Yes, shout out to... Oh, wait. My camera's actually mirrored. My camera's actually mirrored, so detached audio is wrong. Oh!
Audio, but yeah.
I need to change this. Bear with me. I think I can change it right now. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Hello. So yes, my detached audio t-shirt, sweatshirt.
I can only apologise, audio listeners.
Yeah, the audio listeners have no idea what's going on, which is why you should come join us live.
Exactly.
But yeah, that marks the end of the episode. And for everyone who is listening on audio and YouTube, you won't get to see the next bit, but we are going to hang out with our audience for a bit longer. So if you do want to check out our little hangouts, go over to our Twitch once again. But once again, we've been Think Breaks. You have been amazing. And this has been Season 3, Episode 1. Thank you. See you next time.
Big up, guys.